Hey guys, Sonyx here. Today I'm going to be giving you the best controller settings for Apex Legends Season 29. Now this is the brand new legend, Axel, and I'm telling you guys, there's just so many new things this season that you just do not want to skip a minute of this video. I'm going to be giving you the most up-to-date settings based on what I learned from this season, so huge thanks to EA and Respawn for giving me early access to just being able to, you know, play the new character and check the new settings out. So this is the most up-to-date so far. The very first thing you want to do is you want to go to your settings, you want to go to gameplay, and then we're going to start with combat. This is going to go incoming damage feedback to 3D, crosshair damage feedback to off, damage numbers to stacking. This just means that all your numbers kind of add up together. You don't have to, you know, manually do the math. Like if it's floating, you have to add up all those numbers, so you can actually call out to your teammate, hey, I ended up doing, you know, that 132 damage on that guy, or this one 75 damage. So it just does the math for you. You know, you don't want to be doing math in Apex. The reticle, I like to keep that on default. You know, you can customize this to whatever you like, but I noticed the main thing that in Apex is the red is perfect, because if you end up doing green, you're going to blend in with the grass. If you end up doing blue, Olympus is a lot of blues. So red is a kind of perfect color. Sometimes this color works really well, but I think red in general works for me. If you have colorblind, you can always turn that on in the settings, change that up, you know, however you please. But for me, default for the reticle as well as the laser sight as well. So I don't really change those. You can always change those to whatever you prefer. Enemy health bar, definitely keep that on so you can see, you know, how much health each enemy has. You know, this is a recent change that they added a few seasons ago, but it's a quality of life change that definitely helps with just being able to see the enemy's health bar. I mean, it's a very, very nice thing to have. The weapons auto cycle on empty, I keep that to on, just in case if your weapon kind of completely runs out, you automatically swap to the one, you know, to your second one. Sometimes you might not notice if it runs out, and that's a nice little change. The taking damage, close the death box or crafting menu, make sure this one is set to off. A lot of people have this set to on, and what happens is every time you take any type of damage, and if they have this set to on, and if I'm trying to armor swap on this, watch what happens. In a game, I would normally get kicked out. So if I'm trying to armor swap, I get kicked out of that death box right away. Or if I'm trying to craft while I'm in a storm, I automatically get kicked out, because anytime you take damage, you will automatically just go back to the screen that you were on. So you do not want that. Like, if you're taking damage, you want to get that swap so you can fry that next guy. Or if you're in the ring, you want to be able to craft your teammates up. So make sure that this is set to off. Okay, the taking damage closes death box or crafting menu, take that off, please, please, please. And then the next setting we have is chain healing. Okay, this is a new setting that they have. It means your next healing item can be queued. Queued healing items automatically activate after your current healing item is consumed. Now if you have this off, healing items cannot be queued. If you have the single, your next healing item can be queued, and a queued healing item will automatically re-queue until the affected health pool is full. So I'll show you guys an example of what this looks like. I'll go ahead and take some damage, and then I'll go ahead and grab, you know, some heals here. This is a very nice little change that they have. So do you see in the bottom there, it says auto queue? Right there, auto queue. So if I press the top button, it just keeps healing. I don't have to do anything. It just keeps healing my character. The same thing applies if I have a syringe. I can auto queue that. See that, the little Q button, and it just keeps healing. You don't have to keep pressing the healing button. So it's a really nice change. I would recommend keeping that to auto, so you don't have to ever think about it. You can keep that to single if you just want to do just one more extra healing item, but auto works as well. So definitely that's a really, really cool change that they had. For movement, I like to keep always sprint to on. Sprint control, if you have this to off, you can mess around with sprint control, but always sprint to on is a really nice for movement in general. For auto run, you can go ahead and keep that to off. Also, quick thing, I just got my official Apex creator code, and I'd love all your support. If you ever buy Apex coins, here's all you have to do. Step 1, go to store.ea.com. Step 2, log into your account and start your purchase. And finally, step 3, type my code Sonyx under apply promo code. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out a ton. Thank you all so much. Now the next one is jetpack / glide control. Go ahead and keep that to hold. I wouldn't recommend to toggle because this is for Valkyrie specifically. I've been playing Valkyrie for a really, really long time now. I have over 20,000 kills on her. And the best setting that you want to have is to keep that on hold. Do not ever put that to toggle if you want to get good movement with your jets. Now the next one is mantle boost activation. I just keep that to jump, and then mantle boost UI, I keep that to off. But this is essentially, if I'm going to go ahead and put that to full for a second, this is essentially what the super glide once was, where you could go ahead and climb an object and then you could just boost off of it. So now it's kind of integrated into the game where everyone has the access to be able to do that cool movement tech. So, you know, if you are still learning how to do the mantle boost, go ahead and keep that on to full or even like a minimal. But if you keep it at full, you can go ahead and see when you can do the timing. You just have to make sure it lines up where the circle, kind of the dot reticle lands inside of the circle. That's it. And then you'll see the activation. If you're too late, you'll end up getting an animation that looks like this. See, it won't even, it'll say you know, too early. If it's too early, if it's too late, it won't even activate. See, it's too late. So once you get that timing down, you don't even really need to really have this on. You can have it to minimal. You won't even get a word. You'll just get the, you know, the circle and the dot. But then, you know, if you want to get really, really clean gameplay, you could just feel it, and you don't even need to the UI anymore. So go ahead and keep that to off for me, but it depends on what your situation is. Now for interact pop style, I just keep that to default. Tutorial systems, I keep that to on. Button hints, I go ahead and keep that to on. Health and ammo pop-ups to off. Pop-up, I keep that to on. Obituaries on. Minimap rotation off. Arsenals and HUD icons, definitely keep that to maximum so you can see how many arsenals are around you. And it just helps you because this gets, you know, arsenals around the map give you ammunition. You can upgrade your weapons. You can get, like if I upgrade my weapon here, I'll probably get a barrel stave. Oh, I got a stock. See, it's kind of like a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get, but you will get something. So go ahead and keep that to maximum. Ping opacity to default. Off-screen portraits to on. Performance display on. Colorblind mode off. Health and ammo voice lines off. Now, like I said, colorblind, you could always switch this to whatever you prefer, you know, depending on your accessibility needs. Subtitles to off. Subtitle size normal. Enable accessible chat features to off. Chat convert incoming voice to text chat to off. Privacy incoming text chat as speech to off. Auto mute communication to nobody. Streamer mode off. Anonymous mode disabled and usage sharing enabled. Now moving on to our controller settings. Now with the button layout I use, it's just the default. I don't go ahead and change anything here. Of course, if you don't have paddles in the back of your controller, you could go ahead and use, you know, Evolve, Button Puncher. I've heard Ninja works really well, but default works for me, especially with the controllers that already have paddles in there. Now with the stick layout, I keep that default like I said. Interact reload button, tap to use and reload. Crouch button, set that to toggle. This is very important because when you crouch, you just press it once and you stay crouched. This is very important for pulling stuff off like a wall bounce. So there we go. For a wall bounce and you know, being able to just do that consistently, you don't have to hold your crouch to be able to do that. Bunny hopping is going to be a little bit more difficult to do because you have to change from crouch, jump, crouch, jump, crouch, jump, crouch, jump. That's the only difference. But I'm doing this in toggle and it still works really well. So, you know, I can't really complain. The main thing that I would say with this, you just have to get the timing down. But I prefer doing wall bounces a lot more than bunny hops anyway. So not a bad thing at all. The next thing is you want to make sure you're going to have your aim button, set that to hold. Your survival slot button, keep that to off. Actually, it depends on what you want. If you can keep this to on, evac towers, you could just press your, you know, on the D-pad, your left arrow, and you can just get it right away. The reason why I have this off, it's just for stylistic purposes, really. I just like to inspect it because if you have this off, you just have to go in your backpack and grab it there. But you can actually inspect your weapon, your heirloom, you know, midair, like the Sentinel. You could inspect that. Oh, there we go. You know, if you're midair, you could spin it, do all that stuff. So I just keep that to, you know, to off for just for me. Adaptive triggers to off. Trigger dead zones to default. Menu cursor speed, keep it around like right here. This is a very, very important part because this is essentially the speed at which your armor swaps are going to be most effective. You can turn it up a little bit more if you need to, but let's just say, you know, that charge rifle is the armor swap. or the rampage. You see how I'm able to immediately go down really fast? Because that's around the same mark where an armor swap would exist in a death box. If you have it too fast, you're gonna miss a swap. If you have it too slow, you're getting the same thing. You're gonna miss a swap. Someone's gonna shoot you before you can even swap. So right around like the 30% mark, you know, if you have it in default, you can form the little T shape there with the orange. Now this is very important. Your movement and aiming, your look sensitivity is 4. Your look sensitivity ADS is 3. Okay? The per optic sensitivity, turn that off. You don't really need to mess with that. And then your response curve to linear. Okay? And then your look dead zone to none. Movement dead zone to small. Inverted look to off. Vibration to default. You can even turn this off if you really want pinpoint accuracy. I like to keep that default. And once you have these exact settings for 3 linear, you know, I've talked about this in the past because I swap between 4.2 and 4.3, but 4.3 has been probably the most consistent. Yeah, it's too consistent. You pretty much don't miss your shots with this one because having it at 4 isn't too crazy, and having it at 3 allows you to be able to kind of still snap on people pretty fast, and allow you to kind of track people, but you're not overly slow where you're playing at 4.1 and you're not trying to mess around with ALCs. 4.3 linear is still the classic. No pun intended. It's not classic, okay, guys? It's linear. So 4.3 linear, and then having no dead zone is very important, okay? Now you can mess around with your dead zone in, you know, external applications. If you have like a separate controller, you can do that, but having it here at no dead zone pretty much means that every single time that you move your stick, it'll move. Okay, if you have you know, stick drift, it might be more beneficial for this to be at small, but if you want really fine micro corrections to your aim, no dead zone is very perfect. And linear, that basically means raw input. Everything that you tell your controller to do, it's a linear line. You know, it doesn't start off small and then exponentially increase at the end, or start very strong and then taper off at the end. It literally is just raw input of what you tell it to do, it will do for you. So 4.3 linear, no dead zone. Try this out. I guarantee you your aim will improve. Now, for ALCs, a lot of people sometimes have these numbers set. Unfortunately, some people don't know that if you have some numbers here, and even if you turn this off, it bleeds over here. So make sure that these are all off. Because if you have random numbers here, like these bars are up here, your aim will get skewed here, even if this is off, okay? The only thing you need to worry about here, make sure your target compensation is on. This is your aim assist, okay? If you have that off, you're basically not going to be able to hit your shots too well because you don't have the aim assist for controllers. So have those settings for your controller, and I guarantee you will start beaming people left and right. Guys, real quick, pause the video and click here for the best gear to level up your gameplay. From controllers to headsets to even full console and PC setups, everything in this list will help you level up quickly. Okay, let's get back into it. Now with video settings, you're gonna go ahead and put this, it depends on your system, but I like to play on full screen, 16:9 for the aspect ratio, resolution. I play on 2K, brightness, I just like to keep that 55%. You could always increase if you can't see targets. FOV, this is important. Make sure you have this at 110, okay? A lot of people I see play at 70 and then you literally can't see anything. Look at that, you're too zoomed in, right? 110, you're gonna be a lot more zoomed out, but your awareness heightens here. So that's the most important thing. You can see what's around you, you know? So audio in this game, I know it's still kind of an issue, but your field of view helps you kind of stay aware of your surroundings. So make sure this is set to 110, just as max as you possibly could. FOV ability scaling set that to disabled. Sprint view shake set that to minimal. It just means that the amount of sprint shake while you're sprinting is minimal. So you're not going to have some excess movement that you don't need. UI layout, set that to auto. All this stuff is my settings. Now I create content for YouTube, so I like to keep this all on very, very high settings, but for your system, you could always lower that. depending on the software you use, or the platform that you use. If you're in a console or lower, if you're not making content, then you don't need to be having this on the highest settings. Last but not least, the audio settings. I keep that on to 100% because you want to be able to hear everything, whatever output device you have. Audio mix, I set that to focus. Now, focus means that it focuses on combat audio, especially movement, like footsteps. And this was the old audio where you couldn't hear anything. Focus is the new advanced mix that they added, the multi-band sidechain compression. I have a whole video on that, but it's supposed to increase the footsteps of enemies and decrease your own teammates' footsteps. So really, really cool stuff. Advanced audio options. This is very important. So follow these settings. Sound effects volume 50%, dialogue volume 50%, music volume 0, lobby volume at 0, gameplay volume when spectating is 50%. Now this one, legend dialogue sets that to critical only. Now this means that it reminds you of things that you really need to do. It doesn't remind you of small things like voice lines of characters that you don't, like some cringe lines you don't need to hear. Same thing with ping. You only need to hear what you really need to hear. If someone's getting revived, or it doesn't remind you of little things that you shouldn't be knowing, pretty much. Announcer dialogue, set that to none. Emote preview sound, set that to on. Sound background, set that to on. So I kind of like to hear Apex if I am tabbed out. And then you want to go to the voice chat, same thing here. Whatever your input is, I like to keep mine on push to talk, and then the open mic record threshold, just a very, very minimum. And then incoming voice chat, I'd like to set that a little bit over the threshold point mark here in the middle. Now, if you have these settings, I guarantee you this season, if you play this new character, you're literally gonna be able to lock in and just fry everyone you see. I mean, this character already is insane, but try out these settings, and since Axel, this new character, can reposition really quick, you're gonna be just landing so many more beams. I'll make a whole guide on Axel. Once that's out, you'll be able to see at the end of this video. But she can actually find someone with his ult. So let me show you guys what that looks like. Because this is a good target practice for you as well. So you could throw it down, and then it launches on the enemy, and then you just fry them. So aiming is another thing, and I talk about that in a completely different video if you want to watch that on the left hand side there. But once I make the guide for Axel, this will be the next video on the top right. So, and like I said, huge thank you to EA and Respawn for giving me early access to be able to create this type of content for you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and please never forget to take care.